Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Rise with Number Go to Real Estate channel. Today we are starting this the first episode of the year. So Happy New Year everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
This is literally 12 a.m.
12 a.m.
on 大年初一.
Yeah, correct. Now it's 12:30. So we wanted to rush this for River Modern preview, but without further ado, let's begin. River Modern, we all know developers by Guocoland. Right. The most importantly is for the Guoco area, for the city area, we have a lot of pieces that have been done before, Guoco Midtown, Guoco Towers. But one of the most important projects that they did recently was Springleaf, Lentor Modern and Lentor Mansion. So actually their sales have always been very strong. Every time people hear about Guoco, it's always been a great selling point. So I just want to touch about the location of River Valley first. So I think first and foremost, if you can see from here, anything from here onwards is going to be what we call District 9, CCR. Then of course, everything from here onwards is going to be District 3, RCR. What's most important is that there's three main, very important components in this CCR area. Now, number one is this Great Wall. Number two is the MRT station that with the entrance over here. And number three is River Valley Primary School over here. Then of course, River Valley is situated right over here, and they position themselves as 70% sea-facing unit. And if you look in some images on how close they are to proximity, we have River Valley Primary School here, Great Wall MRT station just right here, and then most importantly is this facing towards the Singapore River. So a clearer perspective would be this. So they're going to have two main blocks overlooking this side of Singapore River. Towards that three components that I mentioned earlier, all is actually sheltered walkway. And then in terms of the overview, currently the site area is 126,326 square feet. It's huge, quite a huge land. Total units we have 455, District 9 as mentioned. And most importantly is they have bedrooms ranging from 2 bedrooms all the way to 4 bedrooms. The number one most important question is everyone will be asking, what separates River Modern from the previous GRS that launched over the past 2 years? Amanda?
For me, one most distinct characteristic that River Modern has is that it is its address. It is situated in the CCR District 9, which is a prime location as compared to the past launches last year, such as Promenade Peak as well as Zion Grand. Though it's just one road away, it actually belongs to District 3, which is the rest of Central Region. So in terms of the price positioning wise, how a buyer value the land is going to be very different. Yeah, so that's in terms of the address. And another thing that really stood out to me for River Modern is the fact that it has direct integration to Great Wall MRT, Great Wall Mall, as well as River Valley Primary. I think that really seals the deal. Yeah, and of course, the cream on the top would be the river-facing units that River Modern is able to offer as compared to the rest of the developments that have launched recently, where most of the views are towards the current developments that are already in the area.
I think for me also, I share the same thoughts with Amanda. I think the most important distinction is based on the location where it is at the District 9, and then it is closer to the three other amenities of River Valley. The three most important, which is the MRT, school, and Great Wall. I think like what Amanda mentioned, she spoke my mind. Basically, it's really the CCR area, the proximity because it's River Valley. It's fully sheltered to everything. So River Valley, MRT station, Great Wall. And I think when you position yourself as what Guoco did, right? The main difference with the competitors, for example, River Green over here, as we all know, is really sold out. When we are compared towards other projects such as Promenade Peak and Zion Grand, granted they are still very convenient because you walk, I would say about 5 minutes additional compared to River Modern. But when I'm from this District 3 side, I do have to just slightly cross over this bridge over here towards River Valley Primary School, although there is MRT station just right here for Zion Grand. But River Modern, the position is really very strong in my perspective. Then, of course, like what Amanda mentioned, this will be the very last sea-facing because the next upcoming plot...
Not sea-facing.
Oh, sorry, Singapore River-facing. Singapore River-facing will be this plot over here. So this, it's really something that a lot of own stayers would prefer.
So, in summary, River Modern has all the accessibility that one would need in terms of its proximity to MRT, mall, school. And I think one thing that's very beautiful is that River Modern is also located right beside Kim Seng Park, where you get to have exposure to nature as well, even while staying at the heart of Singapore.
Second question people buyers always ask is that with all the past launches, is it still safe to enter River Valley? Because there's just always something new. Okay, so maybe I address this first. All right. For me, when we're looking at all the past transactions, right, people are saying, it is the fourth River Valley plot. Should you still enter or not? Okay, my honest take is River Valley, great location, amenities is for everybody. When I'm looking at the past performance, this is very important because when I'm looking at River Green, Promenade Peak, Zhang Grand, the performance of how they are doing so far affects my decision in River Modern. Then if we look into detail, River Modern and Zhang Grand is about 92%, 87% respectively sold out. And your 2 bedrooms sold out completely. I'm only left with single or double digits collectively. Then of course, Promenade Peak also has 2 bedrooms, but Promenade Peak, because the layout's just slightly different, I feel that the market is, some buyers are just a bit more resilient. Doesn't mean it's wrong for the floor plan, just a bit more, feels a bit different perspective for the layouts in Promenade Peak. But what this tells me is that if you're looking for a 2-bedroom investor, 2-bedroom buyers, right, River Valley has always been a great choice for all the buyers in the market. Then when I'm looking at 3 bedrooms as well, for the compact 3 bedrooms are all sold out already. So there is a lot of demand. In fact, there's not enough supply in this River Valley area. Okay, then with all this, as mentioned, River Modern that comes up, I'm going to give you amazing floor plans, but I'm also going to position myself as a sea-facing units. I'm going to be District 9 with all these extra attributes, right? It gives the buyers in the market a lot more reason to invest into River Modern. So yes, it is another new GLS in this area, but you can see that a lot of my products are sold in River Valley already. So the moment Guoco comes up with River Modern, I'm very, very sure that the market will come back into this.
So personally for me, whenever I think about whether a project is safe for me to enter, I will always first look into the resale transaction in the area. Let's say if at River Modern, if I'm looking at a 3-bedroom, a 1098 square feet 3-bedroom, probably at about 3.2 mil, even up to 3.5 mil range, what can I get within that area itself? That will be a question that I will answer, and from there I'll be able to tell myself whether it's safe or not. So when I did my research, scrolling through Property Guru, going through the caveats of the resale transaction that have already happened in the area, I realized that at the same quantum, you'll never be able to get anything that River Modern is offering. So take for example, in River Modern, you are able to get a good size 1098 or even up to 1109 square feet 3-bedroom post-harmonized, probably at the 3.5 mil range. But at using the same 3.5 mil range, you will probably be getting the smaller boutique developments, unit in the smaller boutique development with bay window. That's one option. Yeah. And let's say if you want to look into newer projects in the area, we will be looking at projects such as Martin Modern, which is also developed by Guocoland. And then if you want something that is even closer in terms of its attribute to River Modern, it will be Riviere, because Riviere also have units that are facing the sea. But when you deep dive into the floor plan of this development, take for example for Riviere, at about 1,100 odd square feet, what you are getting is not it's not a 3-bedroom that I would consider as comprehensive for a family to be able to accept. So if we were to flesh out the 3-bedroom, the 1,100 over, in fact specifically 1,141 square feet, right? It's personally not something that I would take at the same quantum. If I were to choose between River Modern 1098 versus Riviera 1141 square feet, right? First of all, I think the big difference is really in terms of its wall-to-wall distance. For Riviera itself, you have the standard wall-to-wall distance where it is a lot narrower. It's the portrait layout and it's not the landscape layout that River Modern is able to offer. And I think the second big concern for me for projects such as Riviera is that the kitchen is not a full-size kitchen as well. So it doesn't have a yard, it doesn't have a household shelter or a flexi area for us to host our helper. Yeah, or even for storage purposes. And there isn't the third bathroom as well. So when you put resale developments, the floor plan of the resale developments side by side with River Modern, it becomes very apparent to me that River Modern is something that is very safe to enter in that sense. So this is talking about just resale developments that are surrounding River Modern. And if we are comparing with the new developments that have already launched within the area itself, we would know that in terms of finding a 3-bedroom with wide living space, it's really very difficult within the current new launches in the area. I think a close competition would be Zion Grand 3-bedroom with the wide living.
Yeah.
But again, I think the pet peeve is that there's a wall in between that makes the space look a lot less grand as well.
Okay. Third topic is that in terms of the floor plans of Guoco, which we know Guoco does amazing for post-harmonized projects so far. So let's do a bit of deep dive into the 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. But also just take note that Guoco did not include the 1-bedroom this time. Okay, so for the 2-bedroom, so my favorite would be this 678 square feet. Okay, so as you can see, this 678 square feet, I would think it's the trademark of Guoco 2-bedroom. Okay, first of all, when you do post-harmonized projects, right, I remember in Springleaf, right, the 2-bedrooms, they have a 3-meter dimension for the living area. This is something where most other competitors, we may be looking at 2.6 to even 2.8 meters. Okay, now of course, people always love this dumbbell layout compact. So I feel that this 2-bedroom layout, it stands out for me. Okay, what about you, Amanda?
One layout that stood out to me particularly was the 646 square feet layout. Even though it's a dumbbell layout, it looks seemingly similar to many of the new developments layout, right? But something that I really appreciate about this layout is that the common bedroom door, it's not facing the master bedroom door.
Oh, you mean here?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say if it is it could be two couples that are staying in the same unit, right? It gives you a lot more privacy.
Correct.
Than looking through each other room. Yeah, so this is something that I thought was very special about this particular layout. And of course, if we are looking at spaciousness wise, similar to Jason, what I really appreciate is the 3-meter wall-to-wall distance. And if you were to compare, to give you some perspective, you could even arrange some viewings in the resale developments to see for yourself. But if we look at developments such as Well Hill, what we are getting are probably about 2.69 meter wall-to-wall distance. Yes.
Okay, so for me, 3-bedroom, right? 797 square feet, you can get a proper 3-bedroom. And like what I mentioned, for Guoco, the way they do floor plans, it's amazing. So if you look at this floor plan right here, this is an open concept kitchen, which most people think, 3-bedroom open concept kitchen cannot. But if you really look into the demand of such layouts, for example, if you look into Mayor Mansion, the 3 bedrooms open concept kitchen is something that the resale market loves. In fact, they've been earning a profit about 400 to 600,000 during sub-sale or just slightly after TOP. Even for Springleaf, when they had the exact same 3-bedroom with open concept kitchen, the audience love it. On the launch day, they all sold it already. So I feel that this one, it's because it is small enough for investors to come in. For example, you're looking for a 2+ study, 2-bed, 2-bath potentially. 797 square feet, it's very, very comfortable price-wise. for investors to invest in a three-bedroom. So for me, I think this is nice lah. Amanda, what about you?
My favorite would definitely have to be the show flat layout, both C5 as well as C6 at 1098 to 1109 square feet. So when I first stepped foot into the show flat, I was honestly very, very impressed.
Correct.
Because at 1098 square feet, whenever we go to a resale development, it's almost impossible to find a 1098 square feet three-bedder with white living space.
Oh, yeah. This landscape living.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't believe me, you can check out. I have already run through, I have seen I wouldn't say hundred of thousand, but hundred of listing, right? Looking at 1,000 over square feet home. So in order to, most of the resale development is that you either get, a white living space, but it's a 2-bedroom, or you get a narrow 3-meter living space and you get 3-bedroom. But to get white living space, 3-bedroom, plus a flexi room which can act as a helper room, and a third bathroom, all within this 1098
Crazy.
was something that really impressed me.
Yeah.
And when we talk about white living, it is 5.5 meter. So that really stood out to me a lot. And this is not something that I see in the resale developments in the area itself. Because if you look into projects such as Riviere, at the same size, you'll be getting a narrow living room. In order to get a wide living room, you will have to be entering at a 1,400 square feet unit, where the quantum is almost, or rather at 4 mil. Yes.
Actually, I never noticed this layout until you mentioned 1098 to squeeze a landscape living with a flexi is insane. So I think for Guoco, I don't know what they do, but their floor plan
It's magic.
Magic, really. It's amazing because it's small enough. Yet when you enter that show flat, it doesn't feel small. I think ever since Post Harmonize came in, they started with Lentor Mansion. Floor plan has been amazing. Okay. Now, of course, lastly, let's start off with our 4 bedrooms. Of course, for River Valley, people always complain not enough size, right? So now we give you this. You complain River Green too small, 4 bedroom, or the new launch nowadays too small. Look at this floor plan. This is the biggest 1830. Okay, this is huge lah. This is the show flat unit, right? Yeah, show flat unit. Private lift comes in, junior master. You have your privacy. You have a huge living area, dining area. Your kitchen is huge with a store, with a yard, and then it links towards your master bedroom. This one for me, why it's my favorite compared to the other 4 bedrooms, because this one is really for people who love space and you love River Valley, but you always complain small. This is as big as it can possibly get. Amanda, how about you?
So personally for me, I mean, if I have to choose, we will always choose the biggest, right? But if you are talking about value, then my personal favorite would definitely be D1 at 1,464 square feet.
Also big.
Mainly because for a lot of developments, whenever we are looking at I wouldn't call it compact 4-bedroom, but a smaller 4-bedroom versus a bigger 4-bedroom. Usually for the smaller 4-bedroom, you have to compromise on the wall-to-wall. But for this 4-bedroom, you still get your wide living space. So, and in terms of kitchen-wise, you are not lacking in anything. You get a full-size kitchen with a yard. So, that is my personal favorite, given that the price difference between D1 and D2, it's almost 1.2 million. So unless I really have spare cash, then D2 will stand out to me a lot. But if not, if you're talking about value, D1, it's definitely a better buy for me.
Okay, next question is, how much will River Modern be launching from? Alright, so they have already released the indicative. These are the prices. It will start from 2008 XX lah. But I mean, we know that it wouldn't be, only maybe a few potential units will be 2008. Also depends on the facing. My personal take is that because majority of them is 70C facing, The
Sea
2008.
facing.
Sorry, Singapore river facing. I was mixed up. The 2008 will very likely be the non-Singapore river facing. So when I'm looking at the price matrix, I'm looking at what the developers has released 2008 in my perspective. I'll just share what I think. In my perspective, if you'll notice, there's a very clear PSF difference between River Green, one in District 9, and the Zion Grand Promenade Peak one. If you notice, River Green has already hit 3006 PSF. Now, whereas for Zion Grand Promenade Peak, we are still looking maximum 3001. That's why I feel that this district, when you are above, when you're north of the Singapore River or south of Singapore River, it really makes a very big difference because of the location that you are in. And the classification of District 9 makes difference. So when I'm looking at a PSF of 2008 onwards, right, I feel it's justifiable comparing to what River Green went up, 3006. So that's what I feel. And I think one more point is that for Newton, Land Beat has already been released. We're looking at 1008. I mean, if you ask me between Newton and River Valley, I do feel it's a very fierce competition between both lands. But I feel that in terms of what fulfills me just a bit more would be my River Valley. So when my land bid for River Modern comes up at 1004, while Newton comes at 1008, I think it really helps River Modern stand out slightly by a bit. Amanda, what do you think?
So after looking at the indicative price, I was surprised that the developer was able to launch from 2,800 per square feet per plot ratio. But yet at the same time, we also know that perhaps the average would land closer to 3,001, 3,002, especially for the premium facing unit. So I'm not going to, assess the price based on 2,800 because I don't think that's fair.
Correct.
But even looking at the price at 3,200 per square feet, I am of the view that it is a very reasonable price. I mean, Jason have mentioned earlier, looking at Newton Land Beat, it was already at 1,820 per square feet per plot ratio. And if we look towards the outskirts, recently Tanjong Rhu GLS was also bidded at almost the same price as River Modern at 1,455 per square feet per plot ratio. And of course, this year, likely to be one of the blockbuster launch, Bayshore was 1,388 per square feet.
Yes.
So putting everything together, I'm quite bullish on River Modern. Yeah, let's say if I have to pick between all of this development, River Modern really stands out in that, what you are betting on, it's not a plan of the government. For example, if we are talking about some of the GLS that we have mentioned earlier, what we are banking on, what we are paying the premium for, it's based on, trusting that whatever that the government has planned will come to fruition, and it will also become a land that people will grow to value. Whereas for River Modern, I know that what I'm buying into, it's a track record. Track record of resale developments that have already proven to us that they have made good profits and the infrastructure, the amenities are already up. So these are some of the points that draw me to River Modern a lot more than the rest.
Okay, so to end it off, we always ask ourselves, own sale investment. Okay, so,
Okay.
so 3, 2, 1, then we say.
Okay.
3, 2, 1,
Both.
Yeah.
Wow.
Government, you want to go first?
Okay. So, I will go in terms of why both, right? So in terms of investment wise, I think I've covered quite comprehensive earlier on.
You did?
In terms of safety wise, if I have to choose just within the River Valley area, it is a very safe entry because for resale developments, they have already achieved such a price, if not higher. And yet at the same time, let's say if we are entering at the same price, oftentimes resale, you are getting a little bit lesser. It could be, a 2-bedder at 3.5 mil, and then versus a River Modern, a 3-bedder at 3.5 mil. So So in terms of investment wise, I think that it is a safe purchase. But yet again, I have to put a caveat that if you're looking at purely investment, you are looking for a short-term exit, then probably River Modern may not be it. But if you are looking at earning some money while staying in it, I think it's a perfect choice. Yeah.
Right.
So in terms of River Modern wise, why I would say that it's also a own stay preference for me, because one thing is that River Modern has its close proximity to town.
Yeah.
So
Okay, you
it's
love that.
so it's only 5 minutes drive to Ion Orchard, right?
Yeah.
It's only a short drive. That's one. But oftentimes, if I were to stay 5 minutes away from Orchard, the chances of it not being near MRT, not being near public school, it's very high. Whereas for River Modern, it gives me the assurance that I get to be in town, and yet at the same time, I get the MRT that I may not use, but maybe my future buyer may use it and may value it. And you get the school, you get the mall. So that really draws me a lot to this land as compared to the rest.
Okay, fair. Okay, I think for me, why both is, I think like what Amanda mentioned, we'll be very clear is that we don't feel that River Modern is going to be like a
Investment.
pure investment, because it's going to be a longer holding area. But just because it's a longer holding area doesn't mean that you lose your capital appreciation. I feel that what River Modern offers when it TOPs, it's something where a lot of emotional buyers will love because it's very livable. I would say that the developers, the positioning, the river facing, it's all very livable where emotional buyers will love. So granted, we are entering not to sell immediately at 4 years, but I feel that potentially if you're looking at your 6 years, 7, even 8 year onwards, right, your returns will be a hefty amount for sure. I think that's for the investment point of view. Then of course for the own stay, I think there's nothing much for me to compare. I have primary school, I got shopping mall, I got MRT station. I'm very convenient to town. I mean, I don't really go town as much, but granted, I think it's location wise, it's CCR as well. So it ticks a lot of boxes. So I feel that based on all this, what I mentioned, both, if I'm buying for my own stay, I'll both investment and for own stay. Okay, so just a heads up for any one of you who has purchased a Guoco product before, such as your Lentor Mansion or your Lentor Modern, please highlight to your agents, or even better to us, so you can get priority booking, which often puts you at the VVIP, which will be the very first session of booking prior to opening to the public. Okay, so the preview for River Modern will be launching on the 4th day of Chinese New Year, which is 20th February. So hit up your agents or hit us up, our contact numbers as mentioned, then let us know. We'll be there as well. We'll be at the show flat. Yeah, so for sure, if you see us, just say hi, come by and chat with us. We hope that our videos are something that it helps you by any way possible. Okay? And with that being said, we will see you on the next video analysis. Bye.
Bye. Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year. Bye bye.